Welcome to our second session of clearing the 5 investor fears with Kassandra Kuehl. I invite you to go back and listen to that one because there's some foundational material in that. You can also still receive the frequencies that were inside that video. They continue to grow and evolve as everyone who participates in watching that video adds their consciousness to it and it grows. And I want to invite everyone to look for the link and join Kassandra's Telegram channel, and you can find her Discord channels also. I'll be producing a handout for this session. There'll be one per handout, and you can find all the links to find Kassandra afterwards. So without further ado, Kassandra, take it away.
So let's go ahead and I'm going to share my doc here. So when we're doing quantum biofeedback, this is the device, right? So this is the most advanced, concise. We actually just did another upgrade over the last week. And so when we speak, we're pulling in the field around us. We're also pulling up any unconscious stored thoughts in the holographic field within our own resonance. And each vowel actually hosts a different element of the 5 different elements. And so with that, we're really working on all 5 bodies of consciousness, right? So our super conscious is way out within the etheric field. It's where everything kind of holds its resonance. And then that is, I will say, the most powerful place that we can create from. When we go into a place of innocence, we are going into the superconscious mind, the sense of awe and wonder. It's a place of neutrality. And the energy there is so vital with the superconscious mind that that's where we want to create from. Then we start dialing back down into that 3D sense, the supermental body, the mental, the vital, and the physical body. So what does biofeedback do? It allows us to tap into all different 5 energetic bodies. We take a huge data collection of our personal and our group coherence all at once. And then the biofeedback machine does an incredible job of basically concising all of that information in a very detailed manner. So today we're going to be, as Annie had noted, we're going to go into the second realm of clearing that state of consciousness. And so think of resonance kind of like the 3 branches of a tree. So together we're doing relationship and relational neuroscience, resonance with intention, and then momentum and creation through the week as I play the tones for the collective through the week that are very precise to this time. And when you listen to the YouTube later, each person that then taps into that consciousness is actually adding the power to the amplification even after we end the session here tonight. So the way I wanted to open up tonight was to really kind of get grounded in. We're going to do a very short meditation, which brings us all into cohesiveness together. But I thought it was interesting that, in tonight's consciousness challenge, we're going to be tapping into control. And we're also talking about investment. And so I'm not sure if you've heard of the story, but I love stories. And I love the story of the 3 bricklayers. And when they were asked why, so reflect in your higher mind, why do you lay bricks? And the first bricklayer said, I'm here because I need to pay my bills. And then the second one says that I'm here because this is how I apply my gifts. And this is my career. And the third bricklayer said, I'm here because we're building a concert hall. And one day, extraordinary musicians will play music that will touch the souls that I have never met. And this is my legacy. So we're really tapping into what are we doing with our current investments? What are we doing with the time, the consciousness that we're putting into every single day? And by being here tonight, we're actually collapsing timelines and we're amplifying what we choose and what we want in life. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and have everybody just adjust their 3Bs. It is the fastest hypnosis that I could ever help you embody. And it is simple as this. So the 3Bs are your body language, your breathing, and your beliefs. And what we're here to shift today are all three, but mainly our beliefs. And beliefs are nothing more than thoughts that we thought over and over again that just create imprinted patterns in our brain. So if you can just be present now as we enter into the session and just take a huge psychological, just a huge breath in and a sigh. Just maybe take a couple of them. And then on that third breath, allow that breath to be longer than the inhale. So taking a breath in. Good. And one more. And then just let that gentle wave of relaxation move through your shoulders and your body. And just simply say with that third B, I am here. And it is good. And as you do that, remembering that we are literally creating limitless potential realms. Our subconscious together right now is going to be mapping out a solution as you leave here tonight. So being even more conscious as you were just a moment ago, just allowing every tension. Remember, we can have intention without tension. Allow those waveforms to start to create. Maybe bringing your hands together and starting to create friction in your hands. And now bringing your hands to your heart. And just be present. Be in gratitude for everybody that showed up here tonight to show up for you and also to show up for themselves. My friends, you are the 3%. And as you bring your hands to your heart, perhaps you can feel the beating of your heart, and perhaps you just notice the rise and fall again of your lungs, allowing your nervous system know that you're here and you're safe. Maybe saying to yourself again, I am here and it is so good to be here. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Honoring September 11th as those that we celebrate with light and truth. This beautiful moment of peace and connection together, honoring all of those that have come before, in which I call the voice of many waters. And now just imagine you're breathing light into your heart. And imagining you could send light to one person on this gather in your mind's eye. And if you're still kind of fidgeting, just please be present with yourself and honor this as a gift to yourself now. Imagining you could send light to one person and in your mind's eye, see that person receiving your gift. In your mind's eye, telling them, I see you and I am so glad that you are here and something amazing is about to happen. And just receiving that light yourself, knowing that this energy is reciprocal. Now imagine everyone on this present time and future call in the future as you listen to the replay. You are also here. And reaching out to those listening, standing around you, sending light and love, saying, I see you. I am glad you are here. And something amazing is going to happen as now you start to feel the resonance of the whole group in a wide circle. Now imagine your hands on your heart are now maybe by your side, and maybe even you just reach to the left and the right. And you can imagine you're holding hands, or maybe you can feel your hand being held. And really feel that power between the me now shifting to we and the circle. And to begin to sense or feel that that light is beginning to move from one person to the next and is now so vivacious in its power and connectivity. It's now moving from one person to the next, and it's now creating a huge circle of light connecting us all. A powerful current of energy that connects us all. that's going to tap into what I now speak into as a surrogate for the group, into the biofeedback machine, just being present in this moment as I speak into today's powerful, powerful new state of consciousness that we are clearing. And tonight is about clearing the illusion of control. So always asking for what we desire and what we want. I will start tonight's biofeedback session and I will have Annie step in. I now recognize I am in direct connection with my inner guidance at all times, which supports me in having mastery in making both everyday decisions as well as financial investment decisions and how I relate to myself, others, and my circumstances. Beautiful. So I will just kind of share real quick. I'm not sure, Annie, can you see my phone? Yes. Okay, great. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and take our photo of the group. So basically what we're doing is this photo then is also going to represent scalar energy. And so this will be our consciousness group photo for this evening. And you can see that it's then taking in all of the data that was spoken. It's now taking between the high stress state and states that are very stagnant, which will show up in blue when I show it on my screen. And we're bringing those into balance. What your body needs, it will take in. What it does not, it does not. So we're not mishmashing anything that is not useful. And then I will go ahead and also type in, and what the biofeedback does then is it literally takes the notation of the consciousness of what we're asking for, and then the incoherence of the subconscious as I also type it in. So Annie, I will let you go ahead and take control and speak a little bit about tonight's consciousness challenge, and then I will come back with the biofeedback.
Thank you. Okay, so I am going to share with you what it means to have an illusion of control. And the best example that I have is Kassandra. Can you see the text? Yes. Okay. Because I am driving a car, I am in control. Because I am going to have billions of dollars, I will have control over my projects and my family's outcomes. So what we want to do is we want to recognize that I am in direct connection with my inner guidance at all times. Right? This is what supports me in having mastery in making both everyday decisions as well as financial investment decisions and how I relate to myself, others, and my circumstances. That is our intention for tonight. And I see Kassandra slipped this in here. And this is the restructured belief. This is where we want to go. There is control and then there's mastery. We all know what a control freak looks like, sounds like. We've all been there ourselves. But what if we were in mastery? And what are we in actual mastery of? We could be in mastery of our thoughts, of our actions, our behaviors, our feelings, and our emotions. And all of these things collectively create our consciousness. So are we coming from fear, which is this illusion of control, right? Where it feels like and it looks like we think we're in control because our actions and our behaviors look like we're in control. But we all know that the types of accidents that happen on the road are because someone else became a part of the equation, right? And we did not have control over that other person. So I am going to share with you what it looks like when we start step one of the conflict resolution process. This first step anchors us nose to nose with the conflict. So we're no longer in denial. We're no longer in suppression. And so we start with, and you can read it and say it out loud or do it in your heart and your mind together. I acknowledge I have a conflict with illusion of control consciousness and all the ways that I lied to myself, that I allowed and vowed that because I am in the driver's seat and have full management of the situations or events that I place myself in, that there are no other factors that can impact my experience, as I guarantee myself ideal or optimal outcomes. And I pretend that I know how things will play out because I believe I am in charge and the sole influencer. And I release all of this from my conscious awareness. The reason we say we release this from our conscious awareness is because we didn't know previously, when we were coming from fear, that we were in some delusion called control. And we were trying to control the outcomes, the environment, others, maybe even ourselves, through restriction or suppression of some kind. So when we become conscious with it, that is the moment that you want to say, oh my gosh, all of this was in play, and I'm going to release it from my conscious awareness because I'm ready to move on from the conflict. So we move through that acknowledgement process, and then we come out. By the way, this bonus info is about, we can have someone else be a proxy for us. So it's illusion of control by proxy. So I release that I believe someone had more power or control, maybe even more luck, to create the outcome that I believe is possible. And this gets expressed when we say, here, you buy the winning lotto ticket, or here, you play the craps table in Vegas, because I think you're luckier and smarter than me, and you pick the, token to invest in, for example. And so when we release having that power and control or influence and impact on anything, we begin to become in mastery. And what are we in mastery of? Our energy, our thoughts, the outcome of our thoughts, which are our actions and our behaviors. Then we begin to have emotional mastery, and we recognize that, oh, this may be a feeling that I'm having, but it's not necessarily the truth of me or my situation. So there's the reframe. As I relinquish my need for control, I open to listening to my inner guidance and embodying trust and faith as I access the infinite knowledge available to all and can be in alignment with my higher self and all aspects of me that know and consciously choose to be in mastery. As I make conscious choice to take inner personal responsibility for my thoughts, actions, behaviors, emotions, and feelings, I am choosing to be the master of my energetic experiences. With the goal of having conscious relationships inside the space of mastery, I now open to considering the perspectives of others as I choose to work with all others inside the space of trust and faith and in service to us. So step 2 of the conflict resolution process is releasing self-judgments. And they start with, I release my self-judgments that I coulda, woulda, shoulda, wish I had, can't believe I. And so I've summarized that into one word. I release my disbelief that and here are some examples, that I failed to check in with my inner guidance through a lack of introspection to determine if I was in control or not. And I release that from my conscious awareness. I can't believe I gave my power away to my fear, that I couldn't have trust and faith without being the one to control every situation, experience, person, I'm going to throw in there now, or event. I now release all of this from my conscious awareness. I release my disbelief that I didn't notice that I was under an illusion of control when I thought I could manage everything. And I let that go from my conscious awareness. I release my disbelief that I didn't recognize that I was overreaching or overstepped in my risk taking, and let that go from my conscious awareness. I release my disbelief that I tried to control my environment, my world, my wallet, my car, my family, my coworkers, crops, my plants, my neighbors, my career, anything and everything that you have previously tried to control. And I let all of that go from my conscious awareness. Folks, this is where perfectionism is something we all need to work on, because that illusion of control is part of that perfectionism model. And if you go even deeper, you'll find all of the make wrong consciousness problems, right? That we get to this point where we believe we have to be in control so we can get it right. And that was last week, right? So I released my judgment of the conflict that I shouldn't overestimate my ability to control outcomes that I thought I could influence or impact. And I released this judgment from my conscious awareness. I forgive all judgments from all angles, on all levels, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and abundant or financial, and all dimensions of awareness. Those are conversations, by the way, and from all perspectives of relating. That would be mine. That would be the collective that's on this call. That would be everyone's. I proclaim myself spiritually sovereign of this conflict, and I make a lifelong commitment of not judging myself or others when I or anyone else believes that we can influence outcomes without checking with our inner guidance and need to control outcomes, and conflict resolve it before we buy into a false reality built on illusion. Letting go of attachment to outcome creates so much peace, and it just zeroes out any anxiety you have as an investor. When you let go of your attachment to the outcome, you're at the 0 point. It doesn't matter whether it's a winner or a loser. You've neutralized it, and you stay centered in peace when you do that. And the last step is I shine the light of truth to myself first on all levels of awareness. That's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And let's add in abundance. And then to all others that witness this or have witnessed me in my illusion to control, so that they can be sovereign from this consciousness challenge of needing to influence and control the outcomes. So that's the fifth and final step of the conflict resolution process. And as we shine this light of truth, what are we doing? Going into every cell of our body, every molecule, everything possible, so that we can have peace in our body, which brings us into homeostasis, which is balance. And then our body begins the self-healing process. So I see Kassandra has been busy at work here. She said that there are health stressors that are supported: the adrenals, inflammation, virus, brain, and then we have blood sugar. Bach flower essences that are related to this sphere are walnut, pine, olive, rock rose. And the chakras that are affected are the root chakra, the sacral, and the brow. Okay, and I see, Kassandra, I'll let you talk about this part. And let me see if I can change the percentage here on the view so we can, let's try 90. There we go. I think that's a little better. Okay. Let's check in here. Shall I mute? Are you ready?
Yeah, you can go ahead and mute, and I'll go ahead and just share my other screens here. Okay. So I really like to, if you get dizzy, don't worry about looking at our phone. But I think it's really valuable to see the amount of data that we can really crunch and get really insight in such a short amount of time. So I'm going to preface with saying the energy, this is the great thing about biofeedback. We're going to start moving the field right away. But the other piece that happens when we start to look at biofeedback is we bring the unconscious conscious. And so we're mindful now of even our subconscious and conscious and superconscious being able to connect on the information. We change our own energy field. So please take this information now that I'm speaking are personal to you and what it means to you. So the health stressors, when I pull that up, you can see on the phone is what we're looking at is red and blue. So there are more that are coming in here, but I kind of just note the blue is what needs to move, right? You may be having sensitivities. There may be different molds or different allergies in the air going on right now. Blood sugar, stress. Maybe you had too much, too much bacon today. I don't know what that means. But bacteria, adrenal, and inflammation. So that's just on the health aspect of it. Anytime I work with groups or individuals, I've already put it into the tray. You can see here, these are everything I've already put it in the tray. And you can see here, I put all minerals, all vitamins, and all, let's see if I can put this down. You can see here. So I make sure that I'm sustaining the energetic body with all of the nutrients it's going to need, as well as stabilizing all the other frequencies through the week. So that is just a note of extra care that I'm doing for you. So now let's go ahead and dial into the information. So the Bach flowers, let's see, the meridian. Let's start with the chakras. So we've got the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the brows. We're talking about kind of going into that pineal gland. And so, through the week, if there's different things that you can do to feel rooted, different things like essential oils, kind of the lower notes of essential oils help me stay grounded, stepping outside, putting your feet on the earth. The sacral chakra and the brow chakra are also challenged. And so these are going to be harmonized. But let's go ahead and look at the Bach flower. So we really want to now start to tap into, if you guys have listened to some, Emily's auditions of, Rita's, these are all different aspects of being able to read work energy. I remember I was on the call with her last week, and she was very, very correct. And I will say again, our emotions are affecting our organs. So everything has a frequency. So if we're on that low stagnant frequency of the negative Nelly coming in all the time, or the fear, this is what Annie and I are presenting, and that you're also doing in your own life. We all are doing this, is that we're keeping that. It's not about keeping the vibe high. It's about getting into neutrality so we can make a new decision. So the Bach flower remedies that are showing up for us tonight, specifically, I'm going to take the top highs and the top lows. Okay. So if we tap into walnut, and so tap into what this means for you, the walnut means transitions and free from others' influence, transformational touchstones of life, such as big events or getting married. So we're definitely in transition, my friends. This is the largest transition and transference of trust and money in world history. It attaches and affects the small intestine, the transformation of miracles of 528 hertz, the flower of life, and Fibonacci. The next one is pine. The meaning of pine is self-forgiveness and freedom from guilt. So allow that to speak to you however it will. And it is attached to the lung meridian, the liver meridian, and 417 hertz of clearing trauma, and the root chakra and flower of life. So here's where I start to look into patterns and how everything is starting to connect. Olive means remedy for long-standing exhaustion, so long that a complete reset is needed, which we're doing here tonight. You will also see that exhaustion is now connected to the health of lung inflammation and adrenals. And Annie has already said that as we clear these consciousness channels, what we're doing is bringing homeostasis back to the body. It is connected to the bladder, the kidney, and the adrenals. So if we go back into, now we're starting to see that consistency where I start to say, okay, what's attaching to the bigger message here? We go back into the stress, adrenals, inflammation, everything that we just pulled up, kidneys, the brain, all of that. And if we go into the meridians, we see here, we have our kidney meridian, right? So those are the interconnected pieces. Now, if we go into the solfeggio tones, 528 hertz. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, but this is basically the hertz of the highest note, hertz of love and connectivity and DNA transformation. Perfect note for completing the circle is 963, which is the frequency that enhances the experience of connecting to your own perfection. This can also be thought of as the return to oneness and to feel more spiritually connected. The 639, then it's going to be below 200. So that's at a 111. So that is connected to using for reconnecting relationships, connects harmony, and the use of the fa tone, which is used to clear any type of relationship issue in your life or with self. And because it is about relationships and relationships are all about communication, this frequency can be used to increase cell-to-cell communication. And it's important for healing any type of dis-ease. So those are the main blocks, right, that I want to bring in through the week that hold a lot of sustenance for us. This is the aura. You will see I've already showed that. Let's see, I'll run this again. I've been kind of running it in the background, but you can see the aura here is going to show resonance of purple, pink, blue. What's usually coming in is on the left and what's leaving is on the right. So you can see the auric value of violet is going to be related to the crown chakra. And last week, we had a lot of kind of oppressing, it was kind of like a bubble of gray over us, which means that there's oppression over the group. That is much more clairvoyant tonight. So thank you for everybody coming in a higher vibe this evening. The violet is also connected to the nervous system, healing. It's indigo, completed to the higher energy in the crown chakra. The green is always going to be connected to the hearts and lungs, trust and surrender, and it's representing healing. So that is our chakra beginning for tonight. And then this is where we'll end this evening. Is I'm going to go ahead and tap into all of these different libraries are put in through different various ways, but I made an investor library for the group on behalf, and you can see what is at the top, which is quite interesting. The top frequency that we have above 600 tonight is the very thing that we are working on, which came up, which is the illusion of control consciousness. So that's tapping into that high frenetic frequency. It's a little bit of a higher energy, right? It may be there because we're trying to control of what's going to happen next. And then the next one is accepting losses and clarity. The bottom investor fears that I'm just going to go ahead and also work with and bring it into harmony because these also need to move to support clearing control consciousness, which makes sense, is our inner guidance, confirmation bias, and bringing in investor wisdom. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And those have already been brought down into this tray that I will be playing through the week. Another piece at the bottom here of all the libraries is going to be blue, is getting unstuck and gaining confidence. So my confidence is strong and improving. I am already seeing the end result. I know all of my dreams will be realized. I am worthy of achieving any goal I want. I am worthy of experiencing success. And I see my dreams completely realized. I know it's just a matter of time. So locking into that, trust that, allow that coming into the resonance where you're here or listening to the recording. I also wanted to go into nervous system. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that support in so we can solidify nervous system support through the week. Let's see. Also, there's just so many libraries here. Getting unstuck. Again, this is another library. Any resistance to complete my success and happiness is fading away. I easily now release the habits that have held me back. I forgive myself for events in the past. I am seeing my path very clearly, and I am able to move forward. I deserve to move forward, and I am worthy of succeeding and making a definitive start toward my goals. One more right here. Parasite. I would like to, it sounds kind of odd, but I would also like to work with parasites. Now, what's interesting about parasites is that they can be energetic and it can also be internal. So the release of these parasites are going to release anything around you, parasitically wanting to hang on to you and steal your energy. And so they will both be the nutrients to support them as well as the literal parasites. And breakthrough success limiting beliefs. So this will be the last one that I speak into this evening. So you want to just kind of hold this in and just allow this to clear the consciousness and the field. I am not good enough. Delete, dismiss, and clear. Trying new things is too risky. Delete, clear, release for all time. I am too afraid to be really happy. Delete, release, clear, and let go and experience the truth. I cannot be more successful than my parents. Delete, clear. Being seen is unsafe. Release, clear, and delete and dismiss. I am just not worthy of winning. Let's delete that, dismiss, and undo that. I cannot be truly happy in life no matter what I do. Release and flash burn, clear, 100% clarity for all of time. My life circumstances limit me. Delete, dismiss, and clear. And I'm going to take in the last three here and bring them into my tray. Other people are much better off than I. Delete, dismiss, to clear. Telling my own truth is too risky. Delete, clear, and release. And having lots of money is not honorable. Delete, dismiss, and experience in truth. So with that said, there will be some other things I will be bringing in after I set our session. And that notably will be addiction clearing and the neurotransmitters, and also additional immune support to help the neurocircuitry with the nervous system shift as well. So I'd love to open up any other thoughts that you have, Annie, that are coming to mind, or any questions anybody would have as I run our next aura picture, and then we can go from there.
I have 2 points I'd like to make. For everybody, tune in right now to your physical body and to your energetic, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. And then follow along with this simple clearing, because this is the root cause for parasitic, problems in your body, because you, the host, are a frequency match for them. So I acknowledge I have a conflict with parasitic consumption consciousness and all the ways that a sentient being that is aware that it is alive uses me as their host to take from for time, energy, resources, food, shelter, transportation. I release all of that from my conscious awareness. And I release my self-judgments that I was powerless to notice that I had parasites or parasitic consumers in my energy field. And I let that go from my conscious awareness. And I forgive all judgments from all angles and on all levels, from all dimensions of awareness and from all perspectives of relating. I proclaim myself sovereign from parasitic consumption consciousness. And I commit to conflict resolving anytime I notice myself or others being parasitic in their consuming behaviors towards themselves or others. These are like freeloaders, right? And I shine this light of truth to myself, my body first, that I am free. And then I shine this light to all others that they can be free of this conflict too. My second point is very simple. Your true nature is happiness. The only thing that gets in the way, quite honestly, is that you've learned to judge everything. You've learned to be in survival. You've learned to jump to judge. You've learned to have a reactive mind. and a reactive emotional response to everything, especially if you're an empath. And so as you cease through conscious awareness, conscious intention to not make judgments on yourself, that's self-love right there, or others, that's sharing your love with others, you increase your energy, you raise your frequency, you're back into ascension mode, which is your true nature of love. And you were always that to begin with. You started out on a higher dimension. You descended down to this planet Earth into the third and fourth dimension, and now the fifth. Many people are already having sixth and seventh dimensional experiences, some even higher. And it's from those lower densities that we're raising our frequency back up to our true nature of love, because we came down as a high frequency being and we suddenly went into, oh God, it hurts. It's painful. There's a lot of suffering. And we judged it instead of just being neutral observers. And it's our nervous system and our brain that gives us all the feedback. So as we release these fears and as we restore our happiness, which, believe it or not, when you go to peace, it is peace that organically and naturally creates happiness. You don't chase happiness. You don't try to be happy. You don't choose things to make you happy. Your happiness is who you are. And when you create that peace, that is what just becomes this phenomenological experience of happiness. And you start to live it because it was always there. It just got pushed outside of you. And do you need more time, Kassandra? Because I have a short story. We're trying to make these sessions under an hour. You're good? Okay. I'll turn the mic back over to you.
Bruce. All right, sweetheart. Well, we'll go ahead and we can maybe share that story after we read the questions. So you could kind of see what I was doing in relation. So a couple different things that I do. There's all different kinds of waves. Some waves gather waves and then kind of get everything in coherence. Some waves are different waves that actually kind of like rife frequencies, right? They go in and they break up the bacteria. So we're kind of doing all of those things to really create that coherence. And every single time I rescan, what I'm doing is I'm peeling back the layers and the levels of the onion. Since once we get through that one layer, we get to go to the next. So what this is then showing is kind of what are the top things that the body could use to then bring it back into balance. So the aura now, let's just see, I'll go here. So this is our end aura, our two end auras. And the pure reason I'm showing this is you can see how fast auric changes. I always laugh when people say, do you want me to charge you for an aura reading? It's like, well, no, because my aura is always changing. So this is the progression of clearing and shifting and moving energy. It's just a pure example. It never ever stands still. So that red, we're bringing in more circulation on the left. Okay. We're bringing in that density of color. We're maybe shifting and moving some unexpressed anger out of the field. It's coming in and we're going to continue to shift it out. That purple is still there. That's connected to that higher energy. And that kind of blue, that green and kind of yellow on the bottom is now, again, more healing and expression of creativity and lightness and play with yellow. So, in essence, we're just constantly shifting and moving this energy. And through the week, I will be playing it each day to work with the field. And it's why it's so important to really then how this collapses timelines when we're working at the superconscious level, the conscious level, because we brought the subconscious to the conscious. Now we have something to work with, and the subconscious. So the last thing I'm going to share is let me go ahead and stop this share here. You will be able to see it in the Telegram channel, I believe. I can't go to the Telegram channel, but we can share it again with Miss Annie. Is the consciousness part. So showing up and being supported through the week is one thing, but how do we then move it into action? How do you start to think about what you're doing here tonight and actually create something of salience that you're bringing in through your week? And to me, I think one of the most powerful things that in fact, I know the most powerful things that we can do is actually take it into action. That's why it's called Alchemy in Action. So you can see with this here, we can connect it again in the Alchemy in Action group, or you can go to the Discord channel. It's all right there. Is on the left, we have the rows. So you can write this down yourself. Every single Sunday, please bring this with you. And from this session, in the insights you get, take this 30 minutes to say, okay, what was my big win for the week? So think about that right now. Don't do it later. Think about that right now. Think about your big win for the week, no matter how small. Think about one thing that was challenging for you this week that you can ask. My microphone really close to my mouth, that you can ask for support. Well, that you can ask for support. Well, how can you be supported?
You accidentally muted yourself.
Powerful. Let me tell you. My mic is now wide and ready to leave you with the last one in the Alchemy in Action weekly reflection reset. And that is, what is my one focus, my friends? Scattered to what matters. This can be connected if you have you're part of all these different RV projects. It can be connected to an entrepreneurial dream you have. It can be connected to, I want to manifest my one hunky husband, in which I said last week. Make sure that you're actually going through the actions in your week, thinking about, well, what would my husband want? He would want a clean toilet. So clean your toilet tonight when you go to bed, because he may show up tomorrow morning. So again, the last part of tonight is, what was your win? Where are you going to ask for support this week? And what is the one thing now that you can focus on this week as you're supported with the frequencies through the week? That is it, my friends. That is the power of concise sessions. Back over to you, Annie. Maybe you want to, if anybody wants to raise their questions real quick, and then we can.
Should we end the recording right here and then we'll take Q&A? Awesome. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next week for session 3, where we're going to clear another of the 5 investor fears.